They referred to my daughter as the foolish child of the divorcee, their words echoing in the air, piercing enough for her to catch them, and for me to feel their sting. The judges strolled by her science fair project, as if it were but a whisper in the air, unnoticed and unappreciated. One of them wore a sly smile. One softly murmured a secret to a companion, and together they shared a gentle laugh. I stood there, breathless, battling tears and a tempest of emotions, pondering how much longer my precious girl could endure before she shattered. Her name is Nora, a melody that dances softly on the lips. She is 11 years old. With her own hands, she crafted a creation that filled her heart with pride. For weeks, she immersed herself in the world of old electronics, delicately salvaging wires, meticulously testing circuits, and exploring science blogs that danced just beyond her academic reach. And when she arrived at that gym, her head held high despite the murmurs around her, I felt a glimmer of hope that perhaps, just perhaps, someone would truly notice her. Alas, they did not. It was only when a gentleman graced the room that everything changed. He was not a member of the school. He bore no judge's badge upon his attire. Yet, he paused at her booth. He inquired of her, his curiosity dancing in the air between them. He lent his ear. He turned to me, his expression unwavering, and declared, "This must be patented." It was at that moment that everything transformed. I am known as Elise Martinez. For the last 5 years, it has been just my daughter, Nora, and me. In a quaint town nestled in Pennsylvania, where the charm of community prevails, neighbors leave gentle notes on doorsteps when the grass grows a tad too long, and one's reputation lingers like a cherished memory, forever entwined in the fabric of daily life. All are acquainted with one another. And should you falter, even for a fleeting moment, it lingers in their memory for eternity. I embarked on the journey of marriage at a tender age, just after completing high school. My former husband, Gavin, possessed a delightful charm and a sense of humor that could light up any room, yet he found himself utterly unready for the profound journey of fatherhood. At the tender age of 6, Nora watched as he filled a duffel bag and departed. Without a whisper of caution. There shall be no farewells. This is not the life I desire. It was then that the whispers began to circulate. Whispers surrounded me, claiming I was the reason he departed, labeling me as careless, suggesting I ought to have been more discerning. I found myself without the opportunity to articulate my side. By day, I gracefully attended to patrons at the tables, and by night, I meticulously arranged the shelves, weaving through the rhythm of my dual commitments. Each dollar was devoted to rent, bills, and ensuring that Nora's backpack was always brimming with delightful snacks and essential school supplies. Pride found no space to dwell. I would arrive at parent nights with unkempt hair tucked beneath a baseball cap, and weary eyes that bore the marks of a long double shift. The other mothers would offer a courteous nod, only to return their attention to one another. I sensed that I was an outsider in their quaint PTA brunch gathering. And that was perfectly acceptable. I was not present to forge friendships. I stood by Nora's side. Nora has always possessed a unique charm. Serene, inquisitive, and perpetually imaginative. She gracefully refrains from pursuing the allure of popularity. She requires no throng. Present her with a broken radio, a collection of batteries, and a charming notebook, and she will find herself in blissful delight. From a tender age, she has been captivated by the intricate workings of the world around her. She would delicately disassemble old toys, captivated by the intricate gears within, and then endeavor to create something entirely new from the scattered remnants. One enchanting evening, I returned from my day's endeavors to discover our kitchen table adorned with an intriguing array of wires, magnets, and duct tape. She gazed up at me, her expression imbued with a profound seriousness, and declared, "I believe I can generate electricity from shoes." Initially, a soft laughter escaped my lips. It was not my intention to be unkind, I was simply weary and found myself perplexed by her words. Yet she continued to elaborate, weaving in phrases such as kinetic energy and conductive materials. It dawned on me that she had been immersing herself in science channels, gracefully acquiring knowledge that had eluded my own education. It was then that she revealed to me the enchanting details of the science fair. It was evident that she felt a flutter of nerves as she posed her question. Her voice softened, as if she anticipated my refusal. In all honesty, I came perilously close to it. The cost of entry, the necessary materials, the time required, it all seemed overwhelming. Yet, the way her gaze met mine, a blend of hope and trepidation, made it clear that I must seek a path forward. I took on additional shifts, sought my brother's assistance for rides, and encouraged her to pursue her desires. For the next 3 weeks, Lena immersed herself completely in that project, her heart and soul entwined with every detail. She transformed a worn pair of sneakers into a captivating prototype that illuminated a delicate bulb with each step taken within them. Her theory suggested that, if expanded, the technology could harness the energy of daily movements, walking to school, laboring in fields, and running errands, to generate power in the most secluded of places. Nothing extravagant, merely modest, sustainable energy crafted from remnants. She devoted her evenings and weekends to it, often losing track of time until the moonlight graced her workspace. Her room resembled a quaint workshop, adorned with spools of copper wire, forgotten phone chargers, and LED strips salvaged from broken flashlights. She maintained a journal adorned with intricate diagrams, delicate numbers, and meticulous test results. She crafted a charming display board from the cardboard we salvaged from behind a grocery store. She crafted it with her own hands. She christened her endeavor, "Power in Your Step." My heart swelled with pride. Not for the belief in her victory, but for the unwavering spirit she displayed. She held a steadfast belief, both in it and in her own essence. Yet, as the fair approached, I began to catch the soft murmurs of other parents around me. Is she truly making her entrance? I learned that her mother is struggling to hold everything in place. One must acknowledge, without a guiding father figure or a semblance of structure, what can one truly anticipate? I remained silent, a smile gracing my lips, and continued to appear with unwavering grace. Lena appeared blissfully unaware. Perhaps she did, yet chose not to deepen my sorrow. Regardless, she continued her diligent efforts. On the eve of the fair, she tenderly prepared her project, as if cradling something fragile and precious. She delicately pressed her big brother's old button-down shirt, donning it with the grace of a lab coat. As I gazed upon her that morning, poised with her delicate creation, striving to exude confidence, I was struck by the depth of her courage. She yearned for more than mere visibility. She yearned to be regarded with the utmost sincerity. And I whispered a prayer that someone, anyone, would gaze beyond her surname and recognize the beauty of what she has created. The morning of the science fair unfolded like a momentous occasion, transcending the boundaries of a mere school event. Lena arose with the dawn, elegantly attired, even before I had completed pouring my coffee. She had carefully arranged her project into 2 cardboard boxes the night prior, inscribing each side with elegant, neat handwriting. Delicately embrace. The journey of science unfolds gracefully. She crafted a delicate checklist, gracefully marking off each item with care. Battery packs, wire connections, a canvas of poster board, a backup flashlight, and a notebook to capture thoughts. She was poised, anticipation shimmering in the air. Apprehensive, yet poised for what lies ahead. We filled my car with our belongings and made our way to the school, enveloped in a serene silence. Not for lack of words, but rather for the unspoken emotions we both carried within us. She endeavored to maintain her poise. I was striving to hold back my tears. As we glided into the parking lot, my eyes were drawn to groups of children adorned in matching t-shirts, while parents meticulously unloaded elegantly crafted displays, grand trifold boards embellished with 3D models and dazzling lights. A handful displayed banners. One project featured a solar panel. Another possessed a charming mini wind turbine. Lena cast her gaze upon the worn shoeboxes and makeshift signs, then turned her eyes back to the world beyond the window. "Are you all right?" I inquired. She inclined her head gracefully. "Indeed, it transcends mere appearances, does it not?" "Indeed. Indeed," I replied. Yet, we both understood that it truly was, in a way. As we stepped into the gym, it revealed itself as a captivating realm of scientific marvels. Tables arranged in a whimsical maze, children filled with exuberance, while parents leisurely sip their coffee, imparting gentle advice akin to little league coaches before a momentous match. The judges strolled gracefully, clipboards in hand, surveying the scene with an air of elegance. We discovered her designated table nestled in the charming back corner. Not a single soul offered a greeting. Assistance was not extended by anyone. Lena gracefully unpacked her project, arranging her display with care, and gently tested the delicate LED bulb that illuminated when someone stepped upon the concealed pressure panel nestled within the sneaker. It has been accomplished. Her eyes sparkled for a fleeting moment. It was then that the whispers began to weave their enchanting tale. A girl seated 2 tables away leaned in toward her friend, gesturing with a delicate flourish. "There she is, the enchanting girl I mentioned to you. The one featuring the mother employed at Dino's." The other girl let out a melodious laugh. "Ah, indeed. I heard that her father departed unexpectedly or something of that nature." A flutter of unease stirred within me. I turned around, my heart fluttering with the anticipation of a teacher's entrance. Silence prevails. Only gentle smiles and graceful nods. One of the PTA mothers cast a fleeting glance in my direction before returning to her circle, murmuring softly into her coffee cup. Lena feigned indifference, yet I caught the subtle tension in her hands as they clutched the edge of the table with a delicate intensity. I longed to take her hand and whisk her away from that place. Yet, she had toiled with such dedication for this moment. Thus, I chose to remain silent. And then, the judges arrived. There were 3 individuals, 2 gentlemen and a lady. As they drew near to Lena's table, their laughter danced in the air, a melody of shared joy. One scarcely lifted his gaze from the clipboard. Another cast a fleeting glance over her project board, lingering for perhaps just 2 seconds. The third one glanced at the title, "Power in Your Step," and arched an eyebrow in intrigue. What is this, I wonder? Perhaps a luminous footwear accessory? He inquired, a gentle smile gracing his lips. Lena straightened her posture and declared, "It is a motion-powered energy generator that illuminates a delicate LED bulb. I crafted it with love, utilizing recycled materials. With further development, it may prove to be invaluable for off-grid communities." With a graceful nod, the man interrupted her, already making his way to the next table. The woman judge paused for a fleeting moment, her gaze resting on the sneaker, and with a soft smile, she remarked, "That's cute," before gracefully continuing on her way. Adorable. That was the term she chose to express herself. Uninspiring. Lacking in creativity. Simply delightful. Lena gracefully resumed her seat. Though she remained silent, I caught the fleeting glance of her eyes as they danced from me to the exit door, only to return to her task with a subtle grace. I found myself perched on the bleachers, my hands tightly clasped in my lap, observing as other children proudly displayed their projects, miniature volcanoes that erupted with glitter and slime, while their parents captured each moment on the latest phones, applauding every word with enthusiasm. Lena's table exuded a serene stillness. Overlooked. A couple of students strolled past, sharing a quiet laugh. "Isn't that the unfortunate child of the divorcee?" The word struck me with an unexpected force. Lena, too, caught the sound. Her expression remained unchanged, yet I could sense the shift within her. She was retreating into herself. The spark I had glimpsed in her mere hours ago was beginning to fade. A cry of anguish yearned to escape my lips. I longed to rise and reveal to them the essence of her being, to share the tale of her remarkable journey, how she had crafted beauty from the void with her own hands. Yet, I refrained, for she had not yet completed her thoughts. She averted her gaze. She held back her tears. She lingered in silence, beside her delicate creation, enveloped by a crowd that had long since resolved she held no significance. Yet, she persevered with unwavering resolve. Not at this moment. As I perched upon the bleachers, my fingers clutched the edge of the seat with such fervor that they had succumbed to a delightful numbness. My heart raced with fervor. My cheeks burned with warmth. I felt an overwhelming urge to stride boldly into that room, seize one of those judges by the collar, and demand to know how they could so casually dismiss a child's effort, without a moment's consideration, without a single inquiry, and devoid of any semblance of respect. Yet, I did not. I inhaled deeply. Then, another one followed. I gazed upon Lena. She remained at her table, her gaze fixed upon her project with a contemplative air. Her posture was poised and graceful. Her delicate hands rested gracefully in her lap. Yet, I sensed her unraveling, gently and softly, akin to a delicate thread being drawn away, one subtle tug at a time. She was far too precious for such a fate. Not after all that has transpired. Not after the evenings she devoted to soldering wires beneath the soft glow of a desk lamp, while I prepared steaming bowls of ramen noodles. Not after all the effort she devoted to mastering something that had remained a mystery to her. She sought more than merely a ribbon's triumph. She sought to make her voice resonate. I rose to my feet. I began to stroll gracefully towards her table. My feet danced forward, guided by an instinct I could not yet articulate. A part of me longed to whisk her away from that gym in that very moment. Convey to her that their approval was never a necessity for us. She was far too exquisite for their narrow-minded assessments. That their opinions held no significance. Yet, in that moment, her visage captured my heart. She engaged in conversation with a boy who had gracefully drifted over from another row. She gracefully elucidated the workings of the project, demonstrating the pressure panel and how a gentle step upon it would send energy coursing through the copper coils, illuminating the bulb with a soft glow. Her voice, though gentle, carried the weight of her words. Her gaze was intent. Her hands danced with a graceful assurance. She continued her efforts, unwavering in her pursuit. I paused in my steps. In that moment, a realization washed over me. There was no necessity for me to rescue her. She required no champion to engage in this struggle on her behalf. She longed for me to have faith in her. To reveal to her that her value transcended their acknowledgement. Rather than stepping in, I chose to crouch beside her table, gently resting my hand on her knee as I whispered, "I'm proud of you. Text, it matters not to me whether they bestow upon you a ribbon or leave it ungranted. The creation you have crafted here. This holds great significance. Do keep that in mind." She gazed at me, her eyes fluttering gently, her lips parting ever so slightly as if words eluded her grasp. Then she inclined her head in agreement. Only once. And she gracefully returned to her endeavor. I gracefully retreated to the bleachers, where I settled in to observe the unfolding scene. For the next 10 minutes, Nora remained at her table, observing as the children began to dismantle their displays with youthful exuberance. The judges gathered at the forefront of the gym, gracefully tallying scores and gesturing towards their clipboards. No one returned to her table, not a soul in sight. Yet she chose not to gather her belongings. She chose to stay. She lingered there, as if she possessed a lingering essence, as though her presence still held significance. It was at that moment he graced the room with his presence. At first, he escaped my notice. He was devoid of a badge and did not carry a clipboard. He appeared somewhat out of his element, perhaps in his early 60s, clad in a dark blue blazer, impeccably groomed, the sort of gentleman who would not attend a middle school science fair merely to observe. He strolled leisurely, his gaze caressing the array of projects before him. He lingered briefly at the wind turbine, inquired with gentle curiosity, nodded appreciatively, and continued on his way. He paused gracefully at Nora's table. I paused, my breath caught in a delicate moment. He gazed at the sneaker, gently tapped the bulb, and inquired of her something softly. Though the words eluded my ears, Nora lifted her shoulders with grace and commenced her tale, weaving every detail from beginning to end. He lent his ear. Truly attentive. For several moments, he remained silent, lost in thought. He merely nodded, drawing nearer, captivated by the demonstration as Nora gracefully stepped onto the panel, causing the bulb to illuminate with a soft glow. Then he cast his gaze upon her notebook. She gracefully placed it in his hands. He turned the pages with a gentle grace. I could perceive the subtle change in his expression. His eyes narrowed, and his lips pressed together, as if he were striving to unravel the mystery of what lay before him. At last, he raised his gaze and inquired of her a question. Nora responded with a graceful assurance. Then he gazed upon me. He gracefully stepped back from the table, gestured toward the project, and declared with clarity, "This isn't merely intelligent. This deserves to be patented." All fell into a serene hush. The judges at the front fell silent. A handful of parents glanced over, their curiosity piqued. The young man who had previously ridiculed Nora was now gazing intently. My daughter, so quietly brilliant, stood there in a moment of stillness, as the man grasped her hand and presented her with his card. In that very moment, a transformation unfolded. The delicate boundary that separates the unseen from the cherished gaze. And Nora had traversed it all by herself. The stillness that followed the stranger's words resonated more profoundly than any sound within that gym. He stood there, gesturing towards my daughter's humble display, and repeated his words, this time addressing the astonished judges, his voice resonating throughout the entire room. "This deserves to be patented." For a fleeting moment, time stood still, and no one dared to stir. Then, one of the judges, the very same man who had scarcely acknowledged Nora's project earlier, returned to her table with a graceful stride. He found himself captivated all at once. He cleared his throat, as if to refresh the atmosphere, and inquired of Nora, "Could you guide me through this once more?" Nora cast her gaze upon me. I offered a subtle nod, my silence speaking volumes. With a gentle inhale, she faced the judge and began her tale anew. She shared the enchanting tale of her creation, where recycled materials danced together to form a kinetic energy conversion device. With each graceful step, a delicate coil nestled within the shoe's sole would compress, conjuring power, and she artfully wired it to illuminate an LED. She beautifully articulated how it could assist children in regions where electricity is scarce. With a graceful flourish, she unveiled her notebook, revealing the meticulously recorded test data, voltage readings, intricate wiring diagrams, and the thoughtful step-by-step enhancements she had crafted over time. The judge leaned in, eyes sparkling with intrigue. "Did you truly accomplish this all on your own?" he inquired. Nora inclined her head gracefully. "Primarily. With my mother's guidance in sourcing the parts, I took the initiative to construct it myself." Next, the woman judge, who had previously described the project as charming, approached with grace. On this occasion, she posed genuine inquiries. She gazed at the shoe, jotted down her thoughts, and even allowed a smile to grace her lips once. Then arose the inquiries from the parents. "What do you imply by suggesting this could illuminate our homes? For what duration does the light remain illuminated? Pray tell, where did you acquire the skill to create something so exquisite?" It felt like a dream. Those who had remained silent throughout the day now gathered around her table, leaning in as if she were the very heart of the cosmos. I beheld it unfold as if woven from the fabric of a dream. As if the world had been turned on its head in the brief span of just 5 minutes. The stranger lingered close, arms elegantly crossed, a subtle pride gracing his features as if he possessed a foreknowledge of the unfolding moment. With a gentle step, I approached him and inquired about his identity. With a gentle smile, he uttered, "Dr. Silas Caldwell. I have the privilege of imparting knowledge in mechanical engineering at MIT. I find myself in town, cherishing a visit with my dear niece." Indeed, he was. He confided in me that he had come to the fair solely to support her, yet it was Nora's project that captivated his attention from the very start. He had never witnessed a child of that age so gracefully employ real-world engineering principles, particularly with salvaged materials at hand. "This is more than merely a charming school project," he remarked. "This is a prototype brimming with promise." I felt a wave of emotion wash over me, threatening to spill forth in tears. He gracefully offered me his card, expressing a desire to introduce us to a nonprofit dedicated to supporting young inventors in navigating the intricacies of patent filing and receiving mentorship in the enchanting realms of STEM. She requires a gentle hand to lead her, he remarked. With the right support, this journey could flourish beautifully. Nora radiated a captivating light. Not merely smiling, but radiating warmth. It was the first time I beheld her standing so, tall and poised, radiating a confidence that could only arise from the depths of being genuinely recognized. The children who had once laughed at her now stood in hushed silence. Their whispers and taunts enveloped her, as if she were a stranger in their midst, a figure of intrigue rather than the person she truly was. The awards ceremony was elegantly succinct. They bestowed upon her a unique ribbon of recognition for innovation, a gesture that perhaps was conjured in the moment. Though she did not claim the top honor, it held little significance in the grand tapestry of her journey. Not for her. Not for me. As the gym began to quiet, a teacher approached and gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "Text, I was unaware of this hidden depth within you, Nora," she remarked softly. "I wish to express that she has always possessed it within her. You simply chose not to see." That evening, upon returning home, Nora delicately affixed the ribbon to our refrigerator door with a solitary piece of tape. She gracefully retreated to her chamber, delicately disassembling the prototype, and began to sketch her visions for enhancement. She remained indifferent to accolades. She found herself pondering the possibilities that lay ahead. And what of me? As I lingered at the kitchen table, the card from Dr. Caldwell cradled in my hand, I reflected on the narrow escape from letting that moment slip away. Had he not entered the scene, had Nora surrendered her hopes, had I drawn her away, everything might have concluded before it ever truly started. Yet, she remained. She remained steadfast in her resolve. And when someone at last gazed deeply, truly gazed, they discovered what I had always known within my heart. My daughter was not the unfortunate child of the divorcee. She was a brilliant soul, yearning for recognition. 7 months have gracefully passed since the science fair. It has been 7 months since that enchanting evening in the gymnasium. Ever since the ribbon. From the instant when everything transformed. There are moments when I reflect on how near we were to slipping away, unnoticed by the world. Just a single additional slight, a mere sideways remark, and Nora could have easily gathered her belongings, convinced that her endeavor had met with defeat. That she lacked the brilliance she so desired. That her thoughts held no significance. And if that had come to pass, I truly cannot fathom how long it might have taken her to summon the courage to try once more. Yet, that is not the tale that unfolded. Allow me to share the unfolding of events. She was noticed. Not for the person they believed her to be. The reserved child with a mother who serves at the diner, and a father who is absent from their lives. Yet, for the essence of her true self. A contemplative soul. A craftsman of dreams. A master of solutions. Following the fair, Dr. Caldwell honored his promise. He introduced us to an organization dedicated to guiding young inventors through the intricate journey of the early patent process. In the weeks that followed, Nora and I found ourselves immersed in a video meeting, surrounded by engineers and legal experts from every corner of the nation. They embraced her as if she were meant to be a part of their world. For the simple reason that she did. They guided her gently through the process of filing a provisional patent for her enchanting power in your step design. Nora inquired with grace about the nuances of voltage regulations, the allure of sustainable materials, and the possibilities of battery alternatives. Much of the time, I found myself captivated, enchanted by my 11-year-old as she spoke with a wisdom that seemed far beyond her years, as if she were already immersed in the world of academia. They also appointed her a mentor, Zara, a software engineer who hails from a quaint rural town much like our own. She gently remarked to Nora, "You are not an exception. There are many children who share your spirit. Your courage arrived precisely when it was needed most." That line lingered in my thoughts. For it is indeed a truth. Nora took the initiative to create something beautiful without seeking approval. She took the initiative, never pausing for someone to affirm her qualifications or intellect. She has only just begun. She pursued her curiosity, weaving together the fragments of her world, shattered pieces, remnants, and an unwavering resolve. At this moment, she finds herself embraced by a junior innovators program. Each Saturday morning, as her peers indulge in the luxury of slumber or lose themselves in the glow of their screens, Nora finds herself at the library, her laptop open before her, delicately sketching visions for an enhanced design that promises to yield greater voltage with elegance and simplicity. She is exploring the potential of her invention to bring light and hope to refugee camps and disaster relief efforts, where power is a precious rarity. She envisions a world that stretches far beyond our quaint town, transcending the confines of her own narrative. What about school, my dear? Things have taken on a new hue. The very educators who once overlooked her now seek her presence to inspire the younger students about the wonders of STEM. The girl who once labeled her the foolish child of the divorcee has remained silent ever since the local paper featured a story about her remarkable invention. Nora refrained from gloating. She remained true to herself. With a gentle smile and a subtle nod, she gracefully returned to her tasks. And what of me? I have transformed as well. Once, I bore a heavy weight of guilt upon my heart. Concerning the dissolution of our union. On the subject of excessive toil. Concerning the absence of a conventional life for Nora, one that other children appeared to enjoy. I often sensed that I was perpetually lacking. It seemed that regardless of my efforts, I remained perpetually 2 steps behind. Yet, that day at the science fair imparted a lesson that shall forever linger in my heart. I need not engage in every struggle for my daughter. I need not protect her from every slight nor justify her value to those who have already formed their opinions. What I am called to do, what I am privileged to do, is to be present, to believe in her, to allow her to soar even when it is difficult to witness, even when the world attempts to define her essence. For in truth, here lies the essence. Individuals may attempt to shape your child's identity through the lens of your history, your missteps, your surname, your profession, or the appearance of your family. Allow them to speak. Allow their whispers to linger in the air. Then guide your child in expressing themselves through their work. That is precisely what Nora chose to do. And I shall forever remain enchanted by her for it. If you find yourself watching this and have a child who dances to their own rhythm, who may be quiet, a bit awkward, or perhaps a touch messy and misunderstood, take a deep breath and remain calm. Do not attempt to have them merge seamlessly. Observe what ignites their passion. Embrace that opportunity. Embrace that belief. For one day, another soul may enter, behold the creation that has been nurtured, and declare, this deserves to be immortalized. And when that day arrives, you shall feel an immense pride in knowing you allowed them to define their own essence, untouched by the world's whispers. You allowed them to reveal themselves to the world instead. If this tale resonates with you, if you've ever experienced the pangs of being overlooked, underestimated, or simply yearned for someone to believe in your potential, I kindly invite you to take a moment to express your support for this video. It assists in ways you may not fully realize. Share it with someone who needs a gentle reminder that one's origins do not dictate the path ahead. I would be delighted to hear from you. Please leave a comment below. Share a moment when you or your child elegantly demonstrated that someone was mistaken. Or a moment when someone recognized a potential within you that you had yet to discover. I immerse myself in the words of all. Should you desire more heartfelt tales that elevate your spirit, evoke tears, or gently remind you of the beauty of resilience, do consider subscribing to the channel and activating notifications, ensuring you remain enchanted by what lies ahead. Thank you for your presence. Your presence fills my heart with gratitude. Until we meet again in the next tale.